really honoured to stand here in front of you today and give you a history lesson about where we've come from. You were right, a founder member, although I don't look that old. Too late, sorry, I look quite young yet. And I remember, it shows you, I hang on to things. HMIC consultation event, Dunblane Hydro, 2002. I still have it. That was the inception when they said that you need to do something about recruitment, retention and progression, and what are you going to do about it. And I distinctly remember Alistair Ferry, who was definitely going to be our chair, but unfortunately Alistair was unfortunately killed in a road traffic collision a week before we launched SEMPER Scotland, and that's why I fell into the role of chair. At that time, Alistair and I were on several bodies. I was either chair of the, now what was it? It was chair of the Architectural Liaison Officer, and Alistair was vice chair of the support network for that. Alistair was chair of the NEOTS, the National Equal Opportunities Training Strategy. I was the vice chair of that. So, of course, we go along to this thing, and I remember distinctly the two of us going, well, we'll not be getting involved in that. We've got enough on our plate. And then, lo and behold, it turned out to be. There was a real need for support in the police at that time. When I joined in 1978 in Central Scotland Police, which is your Forth Valley, I always wanted to call it Forth Valley. It sounds much more joyous, doesn't it, Forth Valley? I was their first black police officer, their only black police officer for 21 years, and it brought its own challenges with it, I have to say. And when we got together after this launch here and decided, yes, we need to put our persons where our mouth was because we were complaining things weren't happening, well, who else is going to do it? We're going to have to step up to the plate and do it. And we met in people's houses, and we got a great deal of support from quite a lot of people, but it was long nights, long days. Then Sandra came in to give us advice and never left. We tried, but never left. And then we launched SEMPER Scotland, and it was always at the foundation of SEMPER Scotland to be a support network. And it was a support network. Believe it or not, we used to get phone calls at 2:30 in the morning from minority ethnic police officers crying down the phone, I can't take it anymore. It's amazing how much we've progressed, and we have indeed progressed. I mean, I remember when I was here at Tulliallan, my nickname was Snowball, and that was the instructor. The truth of the matter is, it was meant as a joke, and that's how it was taken. However, when I was here, I was one of 1,100. One of 1,100. And I would say 1,000 of them used my nickname as it should have been, as a nickname. And that allowed the other 100 to fly under the radar and give me a hard time. That would never, ever happen now. Never happen now. However, it would be remiss of us to think that we have no issues still. I look at today the number, percentage-wise, of visible minority ethnic, or not even visible, because SEMPER Scotland was never just about visibility. If you were English and getting a hard time, you could join SEMPER Scotland. So if you're Polish and hard, you can join. It's about support. But we're at, well, see, I told you, I can't take the police out of me. For all that I'm a board member, I hope nobody's here from the fire service, I'll get shot. What are we at, 1%? 1%. And I look at women in the police service, and you're up at 29%, 14, 15. That's fabulous. But we're at 30 now. That's great. So what are we doing wrong? OK, there's a higher percentage of women, I get that, but percentage-wise, we're still not there. SEMPER Scotland is determined to help Police Scotland get to its goals, because we know that it's not just us that want to be an employer of first choice. We want Police Scotland. We know Police Scotland are keen to be an employer of first choice to everyone, to all minority people out there, not just visible minority, not just English, Polish, it doesn't matter, not just gay, lesbian, bisexual. It's about we are wanting to be an employer of first choice. We are very proud of our partnership working. very proud. So we've gone from supporting people in times of crisis, and that's all we did, to a real partnership approach to how we work with people. Indeed, the fire service have been in touch with us. We've been through there. Oslo police have visited to see how we manage things with minority ethnic people, and indeed they continue to send people to our conferences. Alas, budgetary constraints prevents us sending anybody to Oslo, but there's a plug. But we don't do that. But we're really keen about that. We get asked nowadays by people from Scottish Government for our opinion. We get asked from Police Scotland about our opinion, and that's good, because we're really into partnership. HMRC, everybody, we're really into it, and that's great. But we must never forget where we came from and what the key purpose of SEMPER Scotland was. When we came together, and I look round the room at some of the other founding members, who aren't wearing as well as me, I have to say, but sorry, Colin. The point is that when we came together, it wasn't about us getting promotion. It wasn't about that. It wasn't about self-grandisement, and nor should SEMPER Scotland ever be about that. I like Kennedy's quote about one man can make a difference and everyone could try, because that's about it, one man making a difference, each and every one of us making a difference. And yes, we've moved on and we've come ahead, but still we're low in the stakes of the number of minority ethnic officers we have and support staff. We really need to seriously come together, and our action plan and our strategy is going to help us to do that, because our community work is outstanding. Our communities out there are our future police officers. They're our future citizens. We work towards that. We can't continue to sit back and be content that, yes, we've done everything that we can, and the numbers that we have, well, we'll just have to live with it. It's not an easy nut to crack, but we need to do more to try and crack it. There wasn't much humour in Dunblane, the shootings at Dunblane when I was there. But the one thing that lightened my day, about a week into it, I was not in Dunblane that day. I had been taken down to headquarters. And a film crew from the United States arrived, a black film crew. And they wanted to get black police officers' perspective of the incident that had happened. So they asked one of my colleagues, could you introduce us to the black officers? We're here to get a perspective. And they said, he's not here. No. We're looking for a viewpoint from the black police officers. I'm sorry, he's not here. And they just could not get that into their head, that, he's not here. We're not quite as bad as that now, but we need to recognise that we are a multicultural society. I'm just back from New York, and it's interesting. You just see police officers of every hue and cry. It's not. I still take double takes when I see a black police officer, or a Chinese police officer, an Asian police officer walking down the street. I go, oh, and I always smile, because I remember how sometimes it was quite lonely to do that. We need to come together. I would urge every last one of you to support SEMPER Scotland and its visions, because SEMPER Scotland's visions is Police Scotland's vision. We need to stand up, stand together, to be the reflection of Scotland, the true reflection of Scotland, because Police Scotland's a fabulous organisation. And it should truly reflect the society that it serves. We aim to ensure that that's what happens. One of my favourite quotes, it always seems to be American presidents, but it's Bill Clinton. Now, you might not think of him immediately as a role model, but just bear with me. At the Democratic Convention in 2008, and I'm quite sad, I like watching politics. It was 2:30 in the morning, that's how sad I am. And he was talking about why they needed to get rid of W, Mr. Bush, and elect Obama. And he was talking about W as being the hawk and Obama being the dove. And as you know, I do equalities training and various other such training. And what he said was about America was people the world over have always been far more impressed by the power of our example than the example of our power. We need to go out there and be the power of our example. That's what you need to demonstrate. The power of your example, not the example of your power. I don't want you joining SEMPER Scotland because you think it's going to get you further up the ranks quicker, because that's not what the ethos of SEMPER Scotland's about. It's about the power of your example. That's what I look forward to. Thank you for allowing me to go down memory lane. Before I say thank you, I need to also mention one other thing. SEMPER Scotland was the very first support staff or staff support organisation to get funding from ACPOS. That shows the value and the commitment that you gave to SEMPER Scotland, and we appreciate that. And we look forward to continuing that valued work. Thank you very much indeed.
Well, the first thing for me is really just a bit of humility following Robin and Robin's remarks there, when the journey that Robin's been on since 1978 and the movement through to the formation of SEMPER in the early part of the millennium. I'm a member of SEMPER. I like you, probably got an offer I couldn't refuse from the godmother rather than the godfather, and joined in, I think it was about 2006, 2007, and again, in recognition of the criticality of the work. You talk about the need for the police service to be reflective of the communities we serve, accurately, thoroughly, both in our profile, but also in our behaviours and our ethics and our values. And again, coming back to fundamental sort of principles, you go back to the whole principles of policing and what policing is about. You know, the public are the police are the public, and if we're not truly representative of the public we serve, how on earth can we have legitimacy? How on earth can we have their trust? So the work that you've done, where now we are regularly consult with representative groups, we regularly engage and have forums. Well, actually, SEMPER is at the forefront for that, Robin. And your continued commitment and your very presence here today, I think, is great testament to you as an individual and the people that come behind you. You talk about the issues with Police Scotland. There is an absolute commitment from Phil Gormley as a Chief Constable, from himself as his designate, to the agenda of SEMPER, and that's why it's in the Chief Constable's absence. It's a privilege for me to be here today and to emphasise that to you and to give you that organisational and personal commitment. The 3-year strategic plan that you're launching today is one that, on behalf of Police Scotland, we endorse and we give you that vocal and visible support for. I know there are challenges. There are challenges around about the data. There's challenges round about the extent, the nature, the quality of the engagement and the consultation. And I have recently moved portfolios to be the Chief's designated deputy and now have equality and diversity under my jurisdiction. So I'll give a personal commitment to match what you outlined, Robin, going forward. What I want to do is to make sure that we bring together what we're doing internally and how we're championing that, and what policies are, what practices are, what behaviours are, and that's aligned with what we're doing externally with the community, because one goes with the other. The test of ourselves as an organisation, if we're reaching out to communities who are challenged, the communities are going to say to us, well, how do you look after your own people? How do you look after your own staff? What are your own values internally? So the internal and the external for me are but one and the same, and we'll be putting some energy into that as we go forward. Massive challenges for policing since 2013. Briefly, my own reflections on that. Police Scotland didn't come down from Mars and land upon us. Police Scotland came from everybody in this room, the men and women that were part of Central Scotland Police, that were part of Strathclyde Police, were part of City of Edinburgh Police, for that matter. We're all on a journey. We are custodians of the policing mission, the policing purpose, the policing duty. And as the police service evolves to mirror and to match the communities that we serve, it's really, really critical that we have support and that we fully support SEMPER. Yes, it's fantastic to have SEMPER's support, SEMPER's involvement, SEMPER's contribution to shaping policing policy and shaping the service, but the service must also support SEMPER and make sure that you've got the structures and the moral and physical support to make sure that you can develop, you can deliver on what your strategic plan is. So, ladies and gentlemen, I really just want to commend SEMPER as an organisation, as a member, commend my support for the strategic plan, thank Robin for his attendance and for his words. Tribute to Carmen. I know this is, I was aghast and amazed to hear you were retiring, Carmen, but I wish you all the very best going forward, and in terms of Sandra and the rest of the team, I genuinely look forward to working with everybody in the months and years ahead. Thank you.